when were you diagnosed with bipolar disorder?
When I was about 30 or so, I had three young children, and I was in such a hypomanic up state that I decided to go back to school to become a physical therapy assistant. Went back to school, got so over my head, got so stressed out, didn't sleep for at least 2 weeks, and then really went into such a depression, went into the emergency room. They told me I was depressed. But from that point, after being prescribed an antidepressant, my body went into another very hypomanic state induced by the antidepressant, and that's when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
And can you describe the emotional roller coaster that everyone seems to think about when they think about bipolar disorder?
Okay, so there's two types of bipolar disorder, bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. I am bipolar 2, which supposedly has less severe ups and downs, but it's like one day you wake up and you are just up. And you can do anything. I always say I could call the President of the United States and get a meeting if I wanted to. That might last a day or two. Another day, you have such anxiety and depression. You do a lot of crying. So it's a very up and down mood swing, and you really don't know how you're going to feel from day to day.
And what kind of treatment do you use, and how do you think it's helped?
Treatment is really difficult, especially for bipolar 2, which is supposedly the less severe bipolar disorder. I use some medication, meaning an antidepressant and a mood stabilizer, and anti-anxiety medication. You gotta exercise, you gotta see a psychiatrist, you should be seeing a therapist. I do at times go to support group meetings. Does it help? It changes all the time. Your body chemistry changes. So sometimes a med that used to work doesn't work anymore, and it could take months, it could take a year to find another med that works. So, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And what do you think the hardest part of this disorder is?
The hardest part, sort of what I just described, is that nothing is constant. You know, you really just can't count on your moods. Some people get lucky and can stay on a certain medication regime and it works for quite some time. I haven't been so lucky as that. So it's really hard to not know how you're going to feel. And it's really hard while you're working. Luckily, I do a lot of music for my work, and that is a real that decreases depression and anxiety for me, kind of like music therapy. But my other job, being marketing and sales, it's pretty darn tough to do those cold calls and meet people when you're in a low mode. So I'd say that's the toughest part of all. And sometimes you feel like you just have to fake it till you make it.
And how do you cope with this on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I cope with it by trying to be on a schedule. Trying to get sleep is really important. I'm definitely not an early bird, but try to get a good amount of sleep, get up about the same time, do some exercise, keep a regimented schedule. Even with the work that I do in sales, don't leave a big block of time that you don't know what you're going to do. We make our own schedule in sales, so try to keep yourself on a schedule activities, and definitely talk to a therapist because they can tell you when your thinking is off or not. For example, that's depressive thinking or that's hypomanic kind of thinking. They sort of keep you on track. That kind of support is really, really important. One really tough part about this whole thing is how does your family see you? And especially your immediate children, your husband, and you better have supportive people around you, because if you don't, they might say, "What's the matter with you? What are you, crazy?" Whatever. I've heard this in the past. I don't have that situation now, thank goodness, but you have to have a real understanding family because you are not always good, but you want to be good. And when you are good, you are real good. When you're bad, you could be crying. That's the way it is.
Okay, thank you.